my children were sitting at the breakfast table and they just heard me go, ah! They're like, what's happened, Mummy? And then they were all just jumping around in our pyjamas because it was at number one.
Let's talk about Amazon now.
Okay.
Because I think there's another big question for authors. They might, they've got their book now. They're like, yeah, let's put it on Amazon. Is it that easy to put a book on Amazon? What is the process with that? And again, would you recommend anyone to do that?
Well, I worked with a publisher, so I worked with Rethink Press, and they took care of all that kind of stuff for me. And it was evident that nowadays your book doesn't necessarily, unless you work with very, very big publishers like Penguin, etc., it doesn't necessarily go into bookshops, which is fine, because lots of people, I think half of all online shopping is done on Amazon. So if you want your place to be your book to be in one place, then Amazon's got to be the place. And literally, I'll have my book on the side and people will say, oh, where do I get a copy? Can I get it on Amazon? That's the question. Yeah. So it's not like, can I get it in Smith's? So,
can I pop down to the shop?
People are doing so much more online shopping. So I was cool with it just going onto Amazon. That was always the deal. It was going to be a book that was published onto Amazon. And when it goes onto Amazon, it can go as a downloadable book like a Kindle. And then you have the paperback as well. And that was all dealt with by my publisher. But as far as I know, I literally finished the book, finished the editing, got everything approved, and it was literally about 3 days before they went, it's live on Amazon. So it can't be
quite a quick process.
It's not a big process, clearly, but they are a big publisher. They're used to doing it. So but it absolutely must be on Amazon, because that's where a lot of the online shopping gets done. And that's the question that I get now, where can I get your book? Is it on Amazon? So, books and Amazon go hand in hand.
And in terms of Kindle, because high fives, you got to the #1 space, which I think is amazing for anyone to say, because as an author, again, it just gives you that boost. And I think when you got to, so first of all, you released the book, and is it for the first week it was in the top?
So the day it released, it went to top 10 in its Amazon category, which I was pretty proud of, because when you looked at my Amazon category, I had names like Louise Hay, Gabby Bernstein, Wayne Dyer, Anthony Williams, who's the medical medium. All these books are on my bookshelf. These people that I've followed for a very long time, and I was looking, and it was like #7, JACLYN Dunne, Mind Body Miracle. I was like, you have that moment.
That's me.
Yeah, you have that crazy moment where you're like, oh my God. And my sister kept like screenshotting it and going, look who you're hanging out with. I was like, I know, check me out. So yeah, it was a little bit surreal. So it got into the top 10 on its day of release. And then it kind of dwindled down a bit. And Amazon have a rule that you can put your downloadable book, Kindle, on sale after a month of it being on Amazon for 99p, but only for 48 hours. And this is something that the publisher suggested that I do as well, because she said it will just give you that push to get you over the kind of from #7 to #1. And it did. So on the day of it going into a 99p on Amazon, it was something like Kindle. I think paperback was still sitting in the top 20, but Kindle was on like 102. And I thought, I've got a lot of work to do in 48 hours. So crazy Facebook Live on social media, would highly recommend that.
That came up on I was logged in, because I'd never seen your post before, and it came up that day. I logged in and I thought, lady, let me watch this.
The algorithms work on Facebook, where if lots of people are sharing something, then your friends that might not necessarily get your post then get your post, because it's something that they may be interested in, because it's had lots of shares.
And because it was a Facebook Live, like Facebook is still prioritising live videos. So if you can go live,
they love lives. They love lives. That you get higher up in the algorithms on live. So and people will not want to read through a whole massive post, but people love watching you just sit and chat about random stuff. I don't know what that is about, but you've only got to look at like Big Brother, I'm a Celebrity, all of that kind of stuff. It's just people sitting around.
As humans, aren't we?
we like that voyeurism. So I did a Facebook Live to say it's going on to Amazon for 99p. I'd love you to download it. I'd love your support, and I'd love to get to number one. And to make it abundantly clear, you don't actually make lots of money from writing a book. That's not why you do it. I wanted to get the message out there, and that was the thing about getting it to number one, because then your message has more value to it. So.
And I think you're opening yourself up to a whole new audience, because people that might gone on Amazon and, looked for people like Louise Hay, if they see you at number one, they're like, hold on, who's this person at number one? And then people are quite likely to buy it because they're intrigued at who is this new author that's come out.
It's quite strange, because originally lots of people were buying the book that I knew, my Facebook friends, and they were sharing it with their Facebook friends, and it was kind of 3 degrees of separation. And now all of a sudden I'm getting messages from people that have read the book and are saying the impact it's had on them, and I have no idea who these people are, and they might be in like Liverpool. And I'm like, oh my God.
That's ages away.
That's like north of Watford. So it's a little bit surreal to think that complete strangers are reading your book. That's weird. Just loads and loads of promotion, and it was just creeping up really slowly. It went to like 58, and I thought this is going to be a long day. And then it just jumped to 12. It jumped to 12, and then I was like, oh my God, we're nearly in the top 10. And then it just went 3, hung at 3 for ages, 2, hung at 2 for ages. On the first day, the 24 hours was up. I went to bed and it was number 2, and I just thought, well, if it stays at number 2, I'm really happy with number 2.
Yeah.
Actually, I wasn't. But no, I would have been.
I just got that number 1 spot.
I was like, be grateful. So I went to bed with my gratitude list and had a little sulk. No, I was still proud.
She cried herself to sleep that day. She didn't get to number 1 at that. But then when you woke up,
I woke up and I thought, let me just check to see where it is. Hopefully it's not dropped down to 3. And my children were sitting at the breakfast table, and they just heard me go, ah! They're like, what's happened, Mummy? And then they were all just jumping around in our pyjamas because it was at number 1. And stayed there for a good few days. So I was delighted, because all of them 2:30 in the mornings, all of them people that said you're just a co-author, it was all worth it. I was so chuffed.
Just you.
Then you feel like every second of it's been worth it.
And I think it's a point to prove, like, as an author now in this, modern world that we live in, obviously you can be such a talented writer, but now it's more than that. You really do have to put that extra work in by doing things on social media, and it's like you have to build your own foundation. It doesn't have to be of thousands of people.
That Facebook Live, I think it had something like 3,000 views and 14 shares. Yeah. And then when I went on the next day to say, I just want to say thank you because you got it to number 1, and just made the point that them names that I was in that top 10 with, they have big PR machines behind them. They send out newsletters and emails and, info drops all the time. They're not just little old me with my Facebook crew. Yeah. That goes to show the power of social media. Exactly. Because it was just little old me doing a Facebook Live, and it just got shared and viewed and shared and viewed. And, the power in numbers and the power of people appreciating your stuff that's why you have to do it, love it or hate it. And I do have a love-hate relationship with social media. I think we all do, but love it or hate it, it's use it and abuse it.
Use it and abuse it. But I think this is really great inspiration. And before JACLYN goes, I think this is the most powerful thing about your book. So regardless of you might not get into Amazon, you might not get as many sales as you would have liked to, but I think when you hear this, what JACLYN's about to say about the impact your book has had on people, and specifically a family member in this case, I think this is all worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I started writing my book, my book coach said to me, you need somebody to proofread your book who's not in your industry and who can kind of make sure that it's understandable by people outside of your industry. So she said, do you know anybody who you completely trust to give your work to, and they'll read through it and they'll give you some really honest feedback? So I thought, my sister will probably do that. She's not in my industry. At that time, she was quite unhealthy. So I thought maybe there'll be some penny drop moments for her in the book, because it was all going in one ear and out the other when I was trying to tell her this stuff. And she said, yeah, I'd love to read your book. So she read the first few chapters. Yeah, I like that one. That's quite good. I might do that. And I thought, oh my God, this is not really going through like I wanted it to go through. You know, how tough is this? And then eventually she read a chapter called Change Your Sugar Fix, which is in the body section. And she rang me up at 11:30 at night, and I thought, what has happened? And I answered the phone, lots of expletives that I won't repeat, lots of swearing, telling me that she's obviously been killing herself for the last God knows how many years, and she was in her kitchen emptying cupboards because she is no longer going to feed herself this stuff. So I was like, oh, okay, then this is more the reaction that I wanted. So as a consequence of reading that chapter, she went on to lose about a stone in weight, stone and a half, and which was, you know, pretty impressive, and she looked really well. And then she rang me one day and she said, I can feel some lumps. And I was like, okay. So we had a little chat about that, and she went to the doctors, which she had been going to doctors previously for lots of different symptoms that have been told, nothing to worry about, nothing to worry about. And everything started to make sense. So to cut a long story short, she had some tests done and she got diagnosed with stage 3C cancer. When she had her colposcopy, where they put the camera in to see exactly where it was in the ovaries, the womb, the cervix, the peritoneum, the omentum, partial bowel, so basically your whole trunk. So she had 12 hours of surgery. She had, this all happened quite quickly as well, so 12 hours surgery, and she had a full hysterectomy, and she has come through it. She's absolutely fine. They removed all microscopic cancer cells. She's made massive changes to her diet and lifestyle, and she at the moment, touch wood, is all clear. And she is my miracle in Mind Body Miracle.
That is just incredible, because like you were saying before, when you first started writing the book, you didn't know it would have that impact, and for that to happen to your own sister, it just makes you think, you know, regardless, I know it's so easy to get caught up in numbers of things, but that is from writing one book. And that's just one example. I'm sure there's going to be so many more examples.
I'm getting emails and messages, and it's really lovely to hear them. But I always kind of made that decision at that time that even if I didn't sell one single copy of a book, it served its purpose. It served its purpose. And my book coach has said to me, when you start writing this book, it will have one purpose, but by the time you finish, the purpose would have changed. But never in a million years did I ever expect that to become the purpose of the book, which is just incredible. And I was really racing through it, and I didn't know why. But now I understand that my sister's time was very limited, with stage 3C being the penultimate stage. We needed it, and we needed it at that point in time. So thank God.
Such an amazing, inspirational story. You are incredible. I love your positive vibe, and I hope this has really inspired you if you're watching this, and I just hope it will help you take that step.
Absolutely, do it. You will not regret it.
You won't regret it. You won't regret it at all. And what would be your last bit of, what would be kind of your biggest tip maybe for the new aspiring authors out there to take that leap forward? What's the last bit of advice you would give
I
to
would
them?
say, if you believe that you have a book, don't worry about the title. Don't worry about where the book is going to go. you need to sit down and write a contents list. So this is something that I've recently done with my sister, because she's now writing the sister book to Mind Body Miracle.
Oh, I love this. I love it.
About her journey. And so we've sat down and we've done a contents list, because she was literally just outpouring all of this stuff. And I said, you know, but where's it going? So write your contents list. That's how I started. I literally, my book coach took me from a contents list to a #1 Amazon bestseller, and that's all it is. That's the journey, and you can do that by starting with a contents list, because that is your map of where you're going. So just get it out of here into here. You've got your contents list. Look at it every day, and then from the contents list you can start drilling it down. In this chapter is called this. What am I going to write? Okay, five points. Move on, and you've then you just need to put the words into that. So it's your map. So do it that way.
Do it. It's amazing. And if you want that help, enter Pen to Print. We are here to help you on your book journey. Not only do you get the chance to become a published author, you get that free mentoring support. And I think it's really important. JACLYN, she's a book coach. We give you the free mentoring support here. It's just amazing. Go to lbbd.gov.uk/Pen to Print and make sure you enter. And I'm going to leave all JACLYN's links below this video. I'm going to leave a link to her book as well. So if you want to get yourself a copy, and just for you to check it out as well, make sure you do that. Thank you so much for coming on. This
Thanks
has
for having
been
me.
amazing, and we'll see you next week right here on Pen to Print. Bye.